This is our homily for Sunday, February 16th, the sixth Sunday of Ordinary Time. Two old friends were catching up on their lives over drinks at a sidewalk cafe. The one said to the other, "Why is it you've never married?" The other friend said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I've been looking my whole life for the perfect woman. There were several times when I thought I had found her. Once in Barcelona, I met a woman who was beautiful and intelligent, and I was smitten to the heart. I thought, certainly, this is the woman that I should marry. Then I found out that she was vain and conceited, and that relationship came to an end. Then once in Boston, I met a woman who was outgoing and generous. She seemed perfect in every way. Only later, I found out she was flighty and irresponsible. Clearly, she was not the one I was looking for. Then recently, I met a woman in Montreal who was intelligent, beautiful, generous, and warm. She had a great sense of humor and dedicated herself to others. I said to myself, this indeed is the perfect woman. This is the woman I should marry. Well, said the friend, why didn't you marry her? The other man fingered his glass and replied in a quiet voice, because she was looking for the perfect man. Like the man in the joke, we can be fixed in our way of thinking, heavily influenced by our culture, always looking for the best for ourselves. Our gospel today is Luke's version of the Beatitudes, which asks us to change our attitudes and values, no matter what our peers or culture say. While Matthew has 8 blesseds and no woes in his beatitude, Luke has 4 blessed and 4 woes. The woes are simply reversing the blesseds, and they are very direct and confrontational. Woe to you who are filled now, for you will be hungry, for example. This was turning the world upside down for the Jews, who thought riches and positive things meant you had God's blessings, while bad things were a punishment. But it also turns upside down the values of our current secular culture. One cannot be individualistic and consumeristic and live gospel values. They are in direct opposition. Our human tendency is to want more and more, to eat and drink all we can, to be happy, to be liked by all. It's absolutely certain that we need these things. We need food and drink. We need to have happiness. We need to be liked and accepted. The problem is when these become ends in themselves and we focus in on ourselves to the exclusion of others. I think it helps us understand the Beatitudes when we look at the Last Judgment. For example, when I was hungry, you gave me to eat. That is what we will be judged on, not how good we were at following Catholic rules and rituals. Or the story of the rich man and Lazarus. The rich man did nothing wrong. He didn't cheat, but he ignored Lazarus, who was in need, and he could have easily helped. It isn't the things themselves that are bad, but our attitudes and the use we make of them. What matters in the end is right relationships with other people, how we treat others, and share our gifts with them. Here is a true story which I know I've used before, but it illustrates perfectly the point of our readings today. John D. Rockefeller Sr. was a millionaire at age 23, a billionaire at 50. He was the richest man in the world, but he was miserable, eaten up with physical diseases and ulcer. He was a grabber, always trying to get more and more money. Greed had so consumed him that the doctors told him when he was 53 that he had at most a year to live. Just 1 year. Here's a billionaire, the richest man in the world, with 1 year to live, and all he could eat that year, all that his stomach was able to handle, was milk and crackers. Then Rockefeller began to reflect on his life. He said, I have all these possessions, and I've never given anything to anyone. That's when he decided to become a giver. He gave to churches, to hospitals, to foundations, to medical research. Many of the discoveries we've had in medicine have come from money provided by the Rockefeller Foundation. He began to give, and do you know what happened? He started releasing all the internal negative things that were killing him. He got rid of his stress, his tensions, and his ulcers, and he lived to be 97, a saint to many. The Beatitudes, the story of the Last Judgment, the story of Lazarus and the rich man, and the example of J.D. Rockefeller are telling us that the countercultural values of the gospel, that is, thinking of others and not just ourselves, bring happiness not only in the next life, but right now. I invite us to reflect this week on how much we are like Rockefeller before his change, resolving to grow to be more like him after his change, thoughtful and generous to others as best we can. God bless.